Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE Monday Night Raw episode 1354, SmackDown episode 1029, 205 Live episode 128, NXT UK episode 42, and NXT episode 505, all in week 19 of 2019. I put off recording this episode because I wasn't too thrilled with this episode of Raw. We got the wild card rule. That the rules of it are immediately broken because it's all just nonsense. But first, it's 3 people from the other show can come each week. But then it's quickly increased to 4 and then 5. But then it's still said it's 4, but it is 5 because there's 5 people who appear on Raw from SmackDown, and there are 5 who appeared from SmackDown. Appear on SmackDown from Raw. See, I'm getting it mixed up because Vince McMahon couldn't even get this stuff right when he was explaining it. It's like, people from SmackDown can be on SmackDown and people from Raw can be on Raw. That's not what I meant, but I think we understand what we're saying. Tom Phillips did a much better job of explaining at the top of SmackDown the next night, but it's still, this isn't. This seems like it's all, or it's explained. It's been explained by some people that this has the reason for this is because the ratings have gone down, and I don't think it has to be just okay. You can't just throw ingredients into something without a good recipe. Just because you add some sugar, people love sugar, but if you add sugar, what's a good analogy? If you add sugar to tortilla chips, you're cooking up some tortilla chips. That doesn't belong in there. I'm pretty sure that you don't use sugar when you make tortilla chips. Or salty goodness. Everybody loves a little bit of salt, maybe on some pretzels or something. But if you throw salt into a birthday cake, that is garbage. So it's about the recipe. It's not about the ingredients. If you look at a show like this, completely, I already tried recording this episode already. I went beat by beat, went through all my notes and stuff. I'm not gonna screw that. I'm not gonna talk about all the different matches and stuff. Although a very good match that happened was Ricochet versus Rude. I did enjoy that. And the main event, we ended up with a rematch: Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan, a rematch from WrestleMania. This is something that's completely glossed over by everybody because of the ingredient of this the recipe of this episode. That we have that ingredient of Daniel Bryan is back. He is okay. There was worry that because he had been injured in that WrestleMania match that he might be done or something like that. It was very, very secretive what his condition was. And he's back. He has 2 matches back to back, 2 matches this week on Raw and SmackDown. And he's good. And that's awesome. I am really happy about that. But I didn't see any mention of it in all the discussions about these episodes, specifically for Monday Night Raw. Nobody was like, oh my God, Daniel Bryan's okay. That's great. Nobody was like, what the hell is this? This wild card nonsense? Why is the main event of Raw the 2 people from SmackDown? This is nonsense. And not Daniel Bryan is okay and he's back in the ring. His rematch is great. So that's how much a recipe can absolutely screw up the ingredients. And it feels like the solution to the ratings problem is to get the ingredients that people like. Get them over here. Put some strawberries into this. Well, strawberries are good in a lot of things. Get the strawberry into this beef stew. Throw some strawberries in there. That would be disgusting. And that's kind of what we're ending up with this wild card rule. Work on the recipe. Don't just add in more. Work with the ingredients you got. Okay, this is what the analogy I was going for is go and watch any cooking show, and they don't give you some of the worst dishes, it seems like, are when they can just choose whatever the hell they want. And that's what the wild card is doing, is like, oh, let's pick and choose who we can bring over from the other show, and that will that will make things better. No, you've chosen what you have. You have the you have the protein that's there for that dish. You have your AJ Styles and your Seth Rollins. They're your protein, and then you have the mid card is your potatoes, and you have the women's division, and they're the side dishes and the other entrees and all that. And this analogy is getting dumb, but you have that ingredient. You have a steak. You have you have a steak, and then you bring in, okay, well, let's also have let's bring in the halibut from the other show. And it's like, but we already have steak right here. It works fine. We have we got to put all the proteins together. Let's make that bowl of everything that you can get at KFC that has chicken and steak. Not steak. Does it have steak? Does it have sausage? It has chicken and sausage and egg and bacon and whatever. Like all of it in a one little bowl. Like, no, this is just weird. So that's the point I'm getting at, I guess. And then some of the ingredients, some of the recipe, you end up with having water activated icy hot on people's junk, and like that's not a good recipe either. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for Monday Night Raw. This wildcard rule is nonsense, and I hope they realize that it's just making logistics much more difficult to have people's schedules change every week. Like that can't be like that actually, like saying that just now made me like frustrated for the people who have to be on both shows like at last minute's notice, especially people on Raw who have to go to SmackDown the next night. Like they're pulling double duty with like last minute, unless they decide like way beforehand, which that's not actually happening. There's no way that they're deciding way beforehand the specific 4 or 5 or 7 people who are going to be on both shows. No, they are on the Europe tour this next week, so it does kind of make some sense that they would do that. That it would be a little bit easier to do that because nobody's going home the day after Raw anyway. But yeah, we'll see. So on Raw, we had 5 people from SmackDown appear. We had Kofi Kingston, we had Daniel Bryan, we had Elias and Roman Reigns and Lars Sullivan. And then over on SmackDown, we had Sami Zayn and AJ Styles, who fought Kofi in a triple threat for the WWE Championship. So there are 2 WWE Championship matches this week in the 2 main events. That was pretty cool. But then we also had the Usos. That's 3 and 4. And we had The Miz appear to attack Shane. So all right away, the wild card rules are broken. And yeah. So let's see. What do we have here? Sami Zayn got thrown into a dumpster on Monday. And then lots of jokes were made about him smelling bad on Tuesday. We had Ali versus Andrade. Ali won via disqualification when Randy attacked them both, but he attacked Ali first. RKOs for everyone. That was really fun. I'm really looking forward to Randy Orton in the Money in the Bank ladder match with all these guys. Oh, I wanted to talk about that. So we had that match, Ricochet versus Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode absolutely should be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but not in Ricochet's place. He should be in there instead of any of the other 3 people from Raw. Because what we have Corbin and Strowman Is it Lashley or is it McIntyre? It's either Lashley or McIntyre. They should be in there, but Braun Strowman, he won last year. He doesn't need to be in that match again. And it's all three of them are really tall guys. So I think Bobby Roode should be in there instead of Corbin, probably. Because Corbin has won it before also. He doesn't need to be in there. But anyway, there's going to be some type of crazy RKO to Ali or to Ricochet. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Just a super flippy thing into the RKO. I love it. I love that he hit Ali with a pop-up RKO. That looked fantastic. So Shane was about to hand the SmackDown titles because last week the Hardys had to vacate them due to Jeff Hardy's injury. And he's about to just hand them to Daniel Bryan and Rowan. But the Usos come out and challenge them. And so you got the Usos versus the Eco Warriors, Daniel Bryan, and soon to be the planet's champions, Daniel Bryan and Rowan. They won. Rowan hit one of the Usos with the Iron Claw and got the win. So that's pretty cool. And something that I didn't realize, but somebody posted like, oh, remember that we had Daniel Bryan and Kane versus the Bludgeon Brothers, that these two are on opposite sides fighting for those same championships. That's kind of cool. But now Daniel Bryan is a tag team champion, and he does have to deal with those leather belts for the moment, but we'll see what they do about that. I think we could be getting some hemp tag team belts, because I imagine that they finally have the replicas of the WWE Championship that they're selling incredibly well, and they want to get all over that. They can sell. They're probably thinking we can sell twice as many if they're the tag team belts, right? Not necessarily. I don't think very many people are buying 2 tag team belts. They're just buying one of them, probably, maybe. I don't know. Shane has a Money in the Bank announcement, but he is attacked by The Miz before he can, and then the B team comes out and attacks The Miz on Shane's behalf. So yeah, that was the 5th wild card of the night. Heavy Machinery eyes those tag team championships. They want a piece of Daniel Bryan and Rowan. I assume. I don't think they actually said very much. Then we had Ember and Carmella team up to fight Mandy and Sonya. Mandy won by pinning Ember Moon. And so then we had Paige come out with Asuka and Kairi and say that next week they're going to fight Mandy and Sonya. And I think that's going to lead to whoever wins that match has got to be challenging for the women's tag team championships at the thing, at the Money in the Bank. I'm hoping that it was announced this week that NXT TakeOver 25, that's the official name of it, will be in Connecticut the first weekend of June, the first Saturday of June. I wish I could go to that. I could technically make it I do have plans that day, that weekend. It's the Denver Pop Culture Con. I am not appearing at that event as an artist. I just have a ticket to attend and go check out all the other artists and all that, and it could be a lot of fun. So I could cancel that and go to TakeOver 25, but it seems like such a pain to get out there, because where it is very far from from all the nearest airports. It's at least like 40 minutes away from each airports. It isn't that far, but but I am hoping that we get the women's tag team championships defended against somebody in NXT. In that, although we don't really have any with Kairi appearing now on SmackDown. They were the strongest team on NXT, Kyrie and Io. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I hope that that's what happens. And if not, maybe we'll get them at the NXT TakeOver Toronto. But anyway, let's skip this next thing. I don't even want to talk about that guy. He sucks. It was the last segment before the main event, so you know who I'm talking about. Screw that guy. AJ, Sammy, Kofi, triple threat for the championship. Kofi wins, and then Kevin. It was after Kevin came out and attacked Xavier Woods, but it wasn't enough to help Sami Zayn because Kofi still had the Trouble in Paradise and won. I forget if he pinned Sammy or AJ. I imagine it was probably Sammy. I'm recording this way, way later, so I kind of remember stuff that happened. Over on 205 Live, we had Daivari versus Noam Dar. That was a fun match. Daivari won. Then we had the Singh brothers versus some local fellas. They were talking about how they were undefeated in 205 Live. We were like, no, they just lost last week. But yes, but they were undefeated until then. Their one whole match until then, they were undefeated. So they've increased their win record to 67%, which is a not as big of an improvement as it was a decline last week, because they went down by 50%, and now they really only increased that by 33%. And but they're working on it. Then we had Mike Kanellis versus Akira Tozawa in a no disqualifications match, but both Kendrick and Maria Kanellis were banned from being at ringside. What was this? Great moment from this match. Go check this match out. Like this is probably Mike Kanellis' best match for sure, but just kind of standard for Tozawa because he's always awesome. There's a Hurricane Rana to the outside through 2 tables. That was pretty nuts. That was a great moment. One of my favorite moments from the whole week as far as pure wrestling action goes. This is an idea that I threw out there to the WrestleMania travel plans chat group that I'm still in and contribute to a little bit. One solution could be that next week's wild card, Randy Orton just RKOs everybody, every single segment. It doesn't matter. Like every single person gets an RKO, and that would be pretty good. Another thing would be a marathon of season 1 of Miz and Mrs. Just that's 3 hours exactly, I believe. And that would be a great episode of Raw, I think. And then another thing would be if they brought back general managers. This getting rid of the general managers thing has been, as the solution, has been much more detrimental than anything else, I think. As far as like a specific change goes, because obviously if they still have general managers, they still could be just dropping the ball so much. But I think that they should bring them back and have them at the top of the show, instead of like a long 15-minute promo segment with somebody coming out the ring and just talking for 15 minutes, and then somebody else coming out after a couple minutes and they talk. Like, it's every single episode. Let's get in on the action as soon as possible. Let's get a match within the first 5 minutes of the show. I think that would get people tuned in. People turn that on. I feel like this could be the case, that people turn on the show at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., 8 p.m., whenever it comes on in their time zone. At the top of the show, they tune in, and then somebody comes out and is just talking and more talking. And they're talking about a match that might happen later that night, but still, you've been watching for 10 minutes and you haven't seen any actual wrestling yet. And I think that could hurt things. That's like a huge thing that's really easy to fix. You just don't do that. How do you fix doing something? You don't do it. So I thought they had general managers again. How they do it on 205 Live is so good. They get right in on the action. And I mean, there is that changeover. They have to get like kind of stall as things get reset actually in the arena. And it works fantastically because it's like 2 minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes that we're getting the highlights of what's going on, of setting up what's happening tonight and what happened before that's leading up to it. And it's boom, 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 2-3 minutes, and we're caught up. We know what's going on, and we're super hyped for the main event. And it's usually Drake Maverick giving us the rundown of everything that's happening. You could do that on every one of these other shows. They've done it every now and then on SmackDown, and it's awesome when they do it. But they instead we get just these opening promos. Open with a match. Just try it and see how people like it. I am very sure that they would enjoy it quite a bit, even in the live audience. I know they're getting the dark matches or the main event tapings right before it, so they do have some wrestling action. Think about the people watching at home. They're not getting warmed up to the wrestling action like the people in the audience are. Open up with a match. And then have the promo happen out of that match. It doesn't have to be like a main event type of thing. Have, Seth Rollins come out. He says, okay, I want to give somebody an opportunity in this non-title match. Let's do this. Or something like that. Or Samoa Joe comes out. He says, just squashes a local person. I don't know. Have a tag team match where even if it ends up with somebody running in and then they cut a promo having interrupted that match, and that sets up the rest of the night. Any of these things, get wrestling happening in the first 5 minutes, and that would get people more interested, I think. I don't know. Be more like 205 Live. And people go watch 205 Live. It's very good. Over on NXT UK, episode 42, we had Mustache Mountain versus Wild Boar and Primate, who are collectively known as The Hunt. Mustache Mountain won this match, and does that put them on track to facing the tag team champions? Perhaps. We'll see. Amir Jordan was injured or attacked backstage, so he would not be able to compete in his match that he earned with his teammate Kenny Williams against James Drake and Zach Gibson for the championships. We'll get to that in a second. Flash Morgan Webster versus Joe Coffey. This is a match for a spot in the Fatal 4-Way qualifier that'll happen in a few weeks. Joe Coffey won this match. Then we had Nina Samuels versus Casey Owens. Nina won via the Nina Garoshi, and then she talked some crap about Toni Storm, how she abandoned her mother and sister to pursue wrestling instead of being a good daughter and sister. James Drake and Zach Gibson, they were feeling awfully confident because they knew that Amir Jordan would not be able to compete alongside his partner in this match. But Kenny Williams comes out and says, well, I found somebody else, and it is Noam Dar. These guys, I guess, are very, very good friends, and it was really fun to watch them in the ring together. They put up an excellent fight, but those guys, they really focused on Dar's previously injured leg and stuff like that, and they did eventually get the win and retained their championships. Then over on NXT, we open up the night with Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim. Bianca won that match. We now see that the Viking Raiders are known as Viking Raiders on NXT as well. We see them attacked by Forgotten Sons. It looks like Forgotten Sons may be the next in line to challenge them for those championships. Then we have Raul Mendoza versus Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss is recent. I didn't understand his gimmick when I went to NXT Live in Omaha. I just thought he was just like really into workout stuff, like all the gadgets and doodads to maximize your athleticism, because he had like muscle stimulator things, and he had his his water bottles and stuff. Anyway, it was some type of weird thing. He had a weird thing that he was trying to use on the. I don't remember. But it was because he was recovering from injury. So he came back from, and that the whole thing is that he came back from injury early because he was using all these gadgets and doodads. But it was not enough because Raul Mendoza won anyway. Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole. Roderick Strong at one point. Oh yeah, this match is really good. Go watch this match. Also, I believe it was Morrow. It might have not been him, but somebody said that Matt Riddle is one of the highest superstars on the roster. I'm pretty sure that's the exact words they said, and I don't think those were the exact words that they meant to say. That there should have been another word in there. But it was accurate. It was absolutely accurate. Roderick Strong tries to come help Adam Cole, and I felt like everything he did was in to Cole's benefit. That if Roderick Strong hadn't come out there, that Adam Cole would have just lost sooner. Because Adam Cole went for he hit Riddle with a super kick, and then went for a pin, but Riddle, as he kicked out. Now, this I absolutely loved about the way Riddle turned this around. It wasn't a kick out like that usually happens. I'm like acting this out for some reason. It wasn't just like a kick out and then the match continued. His kick out was the reversal. And as he got his shoulder up, he got his arm up and around Cole to get him into that. Was that the bro lock? I'm not sure if that's the move that is called that. But he got him into that submission hold in one smooth motion from getting his shoulder up out of that pinfall. That's awesome. Like, I had just talked about the Hurricane Rana through two tables. Like, that stuff is really cool. But then you see something like this that is just like, that's just like skillful, suave in-ring action. I don't even know the right words to call that. But Adam Cole tapped out, and Matt Riddle got the win. And there's trouble in paradise over here as well. All of these shows ending with trouble in paradise. Adam Cole is pissed at Roderick Strong for always getting involved in his matches, and there's argument. And then afterwards, this wasn't in the episode, but it was online, that Roderick, like, just they're arguing outside, and Roderick ends up just taking off his shirt and his wristbands and just throwing him at the other guys. It seems that he has quit Undisputed Era. But maybe it's all a ruse. Maybe it's so Johnny Gargano doesn't expect Roderick Strong to get involved to help Adam Cole win the NXT Championship at the next TakeOver. They're playing. It could be a long con, or maybe Roderick Strong really is done with Undisputed Era. Either way, I am interested to see what happens next. Morrow describes this whole occurrence as this whole situation as the Undisputed Era is draped in dysfunction. And I think that is an appropriate descriptor for this entire week of shows, and I hope that things improve next week. But they're in England. They're at the O2 for Raw and SmackDown and 205 Live. So they will be pre-taped episode. They're the go home shows for Money in the Bank. I think it's kind of weird that the go home shows are going to be on tape delay. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it works out, but I am excited for some of the matches at Money in the Bank. I'll talk about that more next week, especially when we get the final matches slotted in there. I imagine the Women's Tag Team Championships is one of the main ones. And if they do make any changes to who are in these ladder matches, because I'm not really excited about the women's ladder match on the Raw side of things. Because where's Ruby Riott? Where's Nikki Cross? I think they really should be in there instead of Natalya and Dana Brooke. What? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I mean, it is exciting that it looks. Even though I made this argument, did I do that in this version of this episode? I can't remember. Yes, I did. I did talk about how Baron Corbin or Braun Strowman, they've already won in the last 2 years. They shouldn't be in this match. But at the same time, I'm rooting for Alexa Bliss to win, even though she won and cashed in the same night last year. And I kind of want her to do the exact same thing this year. So, yeah, a little bit of hypocrisy there, I think. But anyway, that's it for all this week's stuff. Thanks for listening. I really wish that I could go to Money in the Bank next weekend, but I will be in California at Comic-Con Revolution selling my Demon Jackal art. Go to demonjackal.com or look up Comic-Con. I have a link to Comic-Con Revolution on demonjackal.com. And also follow at the Demon Jackal on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to learn more about all of that. I'm pretty excited for it. It's just a 2-day convention, which so was the last one. Listen to my new comics episode from this week. I'll talk more. I talked all about my trip to Alaska to the Arctic Comic Con. So I'll do that not in next week's new comic because it won't have happened yet, but the week after Money in the Bank, I'll talk all about the Comic-Con Revolution experience, which is a new tag team debuting on Raw. I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about all of these in the new comics episodes, so I don't bog down these wrestling episodes. I'm probably going to end up doing more and more of just one episode for the week for all the wrestling stuff, because the next couple of months is going to be pretty busy, traveling all around to all these conventions. Go to that website, demonjackal.com, to see where I'm going to be. Mostly, a lot of them are in Texas. Gotta be honest with you. Like half of them are in Texas. Maybe more than half now. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Tweet me at tiwpodcast.com or tweet me at tiwpodcast with your thoughts on all the stuff that happened, what you hope happens in the future. Go to tiwpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. And I'll be back real soon with I gotta get caught up on Doom Patrol. Oh, maybe that's the next thing. I'm getting sidetracked on the ending here. All yesterday I was doing other stuff, but I got through season 2 of Dragon Ball Z Kai, and that's a really fun watch. I really like that show. but I could have been catching up on Doom Patrol. So instead of before I move on to season 3, I think I gotta get caught up on Doom Patrol in the next couple of days before all this travel stuff happens. Or maybe I get caught up during the travel stuff. But then it'll be harder to do podcast episodes about it. But anyway, that's all. Thanks for listening. And this has been TIW Podcast. Stay safe out there, super friends. Bye.